Showing kindness is a popular phrase these days. It's taught in the schools and encouraged in public places to the people in line in front of you and the cashier at the checkout. In our day and age, kindness is needed, but we tend to think that showing kindness is something that you do for strangers who you don't really know, but are probably opposite from you. But what about showing kindness to those who are the closest to you, like in your home, and the person that you're married to? That can sometimes be even more difficult to show kindness to your spouse.
In Ephesians 4:32, Paul says, "And be ye kind one to another." It's a choice. It's a choice that you and I have to make every single day, how we're going to treat our spouse. And do you know how I know it's a choice? How many times have you been critical or harsh with your spouse or a family member? And then the phone rings, and all of a sudden your whole personality changes, and you are sweet, and you're tender, and you're kind. How many times have you been angry and fighting with your spouse on the way to church or somewhere else, and when you get there, you're all kindness and sweetness? Do you know what I'm talking about? Has that ever happened to you? Because I can identify with that.
And I can too. How do you show kindness to your spouse? Well, Paul follows his instruction in Ephesians 4 to be kind by describing what that means. He says, "And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another."
Being tender-hearted means being compassionate, showing empathy, especially if your spouse is struggling emotionally or physically. Maybe kindness there is to be a good listener, not trying to fix them, but putting yourself in their shoes, trying to understand their pain, their hurt, or where they're coming from. It also means to be forgiving when someone has hurt you. But perhaps the greatest challenge to being kind is when those same actions and words and attitudes that you're showing are not reciprocated by your spouse.
Yeah, or have you ever been in a situation where things are not great between the two of you and you feel hurt and disappointed? You would just rather lash out in your anger in a response or get defensive with your spouse because that's our natural reaction. But what if we responded with kindness? How would that be received? Besides the initial shock, the tension in the atmosphere might start to lessen. The Bible says in Proverbs 15:1 that a soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Answering someone with kindness softens the anger, but fighting with harsh words just makes things worse.
Understanding that whatever your spouse has done to you, you don't need to respond in kind. Now, this is a critical time when a conflict can be resolved. If your spouse has hurt you, you do not need to hurt your spouse in return. The Apostle Paul stated it this way: "See that none render evil for evil unto any man." In other words, you don't have to respond in the same hurtful way that you've just been treated. Your response to a situation is always subject to your will. You do not need to be hateful. You do not need to be angry or cruel to a person that's just hurt you.
Well, let me just say what we're talking about here is in normal, healthy marriages that have conflict. We all do. But if you're in a situation that is harmful and abusive, then you need to first of all get to a place of safety and reach out to someone for help. We're here. Home Life Ministries is here to help you in your difficult marriage. But for most healthy married couples, if you are walking in fellowship with the Lord, then you can choose to respond with the love and patience of the Spirit of God in your life.
You know, how you treat your spouse is an eloquent indication of a person's true spirituality. It's easy to be kind to friends and others that show kindness to you, but how you treat your husband, how you treat your wife, is really a glimpse into a person's soul. It shows how desperately we need God's help, not just for the big things in life, but even for the simple daily things like showing kindness to our spouse.